Where is it? Hello. Right, let me turn that off. Hmm. What song should I use along with this stream? Or do I have a thing? No, I don't. So I'm gonna find a song real quick and I'll be here. I'll be back in a second. Mm. What song? What song? What song? Now, I don't think I'm going to use a background music. This one. Me stream started. And I'll also go on Twitter and stream started. There we go. There we go. Let me bring up my pop-up chat. Right. I think I'm going to have a little sip of my matcha before we go in. Right, so hello there, Skyrider. Welcome to the stream. Welcome. I see on your Discord that you're still working, which is not wrong, but this stream you might want to think a lot more. Like a whole lot more. Oh, that much is good. So today we're going to be talking about these fuckers here. The Voteless from Helldivers 2. Let me rearrange some stuff real quick. Maybe like this. Like that and that. Okay, so I've been this stream has been made, well, it's not exactly scripted. The concept of it has been on my mind for a while, you know. Ever since I started playing Helldivers on the Illuminate side, I've been thinking like, are these voteless really alive? If you know what I mean. You you would think that they're not alive, but when I start to think about it critically, I start to see that maybe maybe these things are alive. Maybe they are. But I think it would be fun if we went ahead and think about it, you know. So where should I start this? Because I didn't really have a structure to this analysis. I just made two questions and the answers. So hmm, when you think about life, like what is life to us all? What is life to you? If you know what I mean. Um, Personally, I think that everybody has a definition to life to himself. Like I also have a definition of my own life, like what life should be. For me, at least, life is to to be conscious of yourself, to know that you're alive, to experience things, remember them, and understand them. Hello there, Vibrant. Welcome to this dream. So, I was talking about like what life is. I asked a question to everybody. Uh, first, first let me type it out on this here canvas. What is life? So, big question here is what is life? Right? What is life? So, as I've said in my ponderings, I think that life. Let me, let me write this shit down. Life is to be conscious. To be conscious. To be aware that you're alive. To be aware that you're alive. That is life. You know, and to also be alive. Now, the word alive in the sense that I'm using is the biological life, if you can understand that. So to, to in my definition, to be alive. Hold on, I'm not making sense. I'm not making sense. Hold on. Uh, I can't think of any other way to phrase this, but to be alive is to both know that you're alive you're here, you're sensing things, and to also be alive in the biological sense. Let me put a bracket in there. Bio and what's the con to be alive in a biological sense, and the sense that you know you're alive. So when it comes to the voteless, I am not that sure if the voteless are simply brainwashed or that they are mind controlled. Now, in the game, I've seen the voteless attack us without any sort of control. They are not exactly led in the physical sense. Like in the military, you would have a leader who transmits commands to his underlings. I should use the word underlings. I should use the word soldiers. You know, they they don't exactly act like the voteless, but hmm, but the voteless, they somehow know how to attack someone. You know, how to attack a helldiver. And they also seem to be they also seem to know where we are if we are in the proximity of the horde. So even if I am behind a building and on the other side of that building there is a little group of voteless, they would know that I'm on the other side of the building, which would kind of entail that the voteless are mind controlled, and supposedly the thing that has control over them knows where we are. It's like it's like having a commander in the sky directly telling into your radio on where the enemy is, and to pursue the enemy. That is the gist of what I know. I can't exactly say what it is because it's kind of hard for me to spell it out, like what it is. Now, I'll also be looking at the voteless being alive in a biological sense and a philosophical sense. So let's first look at the biological side of things. So if you go on to say Wikipedia, they're going to say that to be alive, let me move my camera. To be alive is to firstly respond to stimuli. Respond to stimuli. They also have to have biological processes. processes. They also have to grow. Uh, what's the what's the what's the word for it to have metabolism? Let's use the phrase host metabolic processes. They also have to adapt, reproduce. I actually have a script on the left side of my screen. I actually do, but it's taking me quite a bit of energy to understand what I've written. So let's look at these 6 things and see if they check out as being alive. So according to the Wikipedia, living things must respond to stimuli. This is what the Voteless do. They respond to our sounds, our stratagems, and human presence. I've seen them attack both people, sieve soldiers, and hill divers. So they can get stimulated by anything that moves that isn't part of the illuminate race. So we give this one a check. Now, biological processes. It's kind of murky when it comes to biological processes. But in order for them to be combat effectiveness as a humanoid, they need to have some sort of processes going on inside their body. You know? Hold on, let me bring up my marker. There we go. And I'll use a physical tick instead. So the Voteless respond to stimuli, biological processes. It seems to me that the Voteless can see. They see, they think, and they act. That is a part of the stimuli, and possibly the biological processes as well. But I think there has to be some sort of process that goes on. Stuff like their blood gushing out when you shoot at them, right? For example, when I shoot at the Voteless's head, blood comes gushing out of its neck, or what used to be the neck. And for it to gush out like that, there has to be a heart in there. And having a heart means that the heart does beat. The heart does beat. God, I'm not doing well right now. I should be asleep because I just changed my sleeping times. Uh so the heart does beat. Their muscles move. No, heartbeat, muscles move. Uh, I would presume that they breathe as well, and that they also see. Hmm. I think that's all the actual processes that I can see. That I can see. So the voteless, I would say that it ticks this criteria of being alive. Does a voteless grow? I don't think they do. Simply because one, their entire body is their entire body is basically gone beyond saving, and that we haven't had the voteless for long enough that they grow, you know? So, hmm. Given that they are genetically altered to be the frontline soldiers of the Illuminate, I don't think that they need to grow. And so, like, the Illuminate could halt the breaking down of the telomeres inside their DNA. Wait, it's not DNA. It's the chromosomes. Yeah, I've been going into this in very autistic detail. Holy shit. So, but can you can you even count that they grow when these hands exist? Now, I would want to ask you guys, does growing, or say when you get an improvement, when you get an improvement of your on your body through the natural processes, if you can call it that, does it count as growing? As in you, for like, it's like this. I assume that the voteless first gets their entire body turned into something akin to this, but it's a little bit more humanoid. Their hands grow later because to to grow the chitin on the nails, it does take quite a bit of time. And if that is the case, does it mean that the body of the Illuminate recognize the passage of time so that their nails grow? I'm just rambling at this point. um yeah, I would like to invite you guys to help me discuss this thing. You know, it would be pretty traitorous of me to be saying that we should have empathy for them. But I actually do. Like, hold on, about to go off track. So, let's say that they kinda grow. They kinda grow. So let's put it in half. So, host metabolic processes. Now, this is a little bit tricky to understand. As as you may know, every living thing requires energy, even down to the smallest single-celled organism. They require food. Like our cells, our cells also require food, but not in the sense that we are eating it. They are getting energy converted from carbohydrates, sugars, whatever. I forgot what those things were. And shit, where I was again? I'm so sorry, guys. I'm not in a very very clear state of mind. I shouldn't be pondering philosophically at a very very insignificant enemy in a video game. So the voteless have to take in something, right? But that something is not known. Could they be taking radiation? Could they be taking radiation or I don't think they will be taking in radiation simply because radiation in and of itself breaks down the cells. It breaks down the cells and mutates them, and they generally aren't that desirable. And also, a little bit of a sidetrack here. I don't think that their transformation here, their entire body, is not transformed using radiation. I think it's a more mainline biological process, like something like injecting pathogens into the bloodstream. And those pathogens would go in, and it could be some form of a virus. That would also explain why they become zombies, as many people call them. Hmm. As you know, as as I'm might have thought, this thing is not that interesting to people. I'm terribly sorry, guys. I just wanted to make something that I wanted to do, which is philosophy. I get it, it's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's sort of my sort of what I like. Right. And do we assume that the voteless eat food? Do we assume so? Hmm. I've seen voteless that can run the player across the map, like maybe halfway across the map, and never get tired. They are just relentless, and it may seem that they have the energy, and to actually mutate into this big fucking thing here, it does take a lot of energy. You know, you can't you can't just simply change the cells of your body without inputting some energy into it. It has to come from somewhere. It has to. But where? did it get its food from? That is a question. That is a question that I would like to know myself. But let's assume that they don't. How are they how are they fueled? Like even if these things are drones, they still require energy to attack us and run at us. Hello, Vibrak. Hello. So, firstly, to grow this lodge, you need energy. You need energy. What game theory are we discussing today? Well, I'm discussing the philosophy and a little bit of the biology of the Voteless from Helldivers 2. It it's a subject that has been itching in me for like a week or so now. I've been thinking about it a lot, so I think this day I'm going to I'm going to geek out about it. So, coming back to our discussion, it needs it needs energy, but from where? Because as as anything grows, like for example, when you're in puberty, when you're in your growth spurt era, you eat a lot. What exactly is a voteless? Well, a voteless is a former citizen of Super Earth that has been mutated to become a foot soldier for the Illuminate faction. They essentially work as zombies in game. But right now I'm trying to see exactly what it is. You know, see exactly what it is. Energy from where? But we also have to assume that they are getting energy and using that energy to allow their body to function like so, like they run, they attack. Yeah, I say that they have a metabolic process. How are they zombified? That is a question. That is a question that we don't know. Now, do the voteless adapt? I don't think they do. I mean, they're not in the game long enough to evolve. So I'll give this one a no. Do they reproduce? I don't think not, because living things like dogs and cats and mosquitoes can be sterilized and still considered alive. So this would be a no, but also a yes at the same time. This hold on, let me erase this. Uh let me erase this. So all these things we have about four. The voteless here satisfies four and a half of the criteria that is widely the regarded as life. You know, life. But um, shit, where was I going about this? There is a there is a part where where it specifies that it can have all or most of these qualities. Hmm. Wait, where? How did how did I think of the reproduction? Hmm. They don't actually reproduce. Hold on, hold on. They don't actually reproduce. I don't think they are. I don't think they do. So this thing satisfies. It still satisfies most of the criteria. 3.5. I think that is more. That is more than enough. That is that's more than half. So that's still a majority. Let me take a sip of my tea. Yeah, I don't think this stream is going to be that long. So yeah, won't be that long. So in a biological sense, right? Let me put a little summary here. What counts as metabolic processes? Metabolic processes is where you take in the taking energy from something like food or something that gives the body energy, and you convert them into energy, and that energy gets transported to all the cells in the body. Not only that, they also allow the body to function, to support it, to be some sort of a life support, you know, uh with the energy that you get from food, right? You can move. You can move because there is a process going on inside your body that turns the food that you've eaten into energy that the cells can use. That is that is a metabolic process. Now, we don't know how exactly the Voteless are fed, how they get their energy, but it has to come from somewhere. So I will count that they still have a metabolic process. Otherwise, they won't be effective combatants at all. Hmm. Right. Are they a hive mind or individuals with some sort of center command? That is what I'm going to explore. That is exactly what I'm going to explore. But we have to go in gradually. We have to gradually go in. Where's the text thing? Biologically alive. So they are biologically alive. And what about philosophically? Let me erase this part of the board. So to uh to be alive in a philosophical sense is to think be self-aware that they are alive. It's to essentially be to know that you're alive. Like you and I right now. We both know that we are alive given the fact that we are breathing and communicating with each other and watching this stream, right? To know all of those things is to satisfy a criteria of being alive. Now, aside from being self-aware that they are alive, they hold on. They need to have a consciousness. Consciousness. Now, why did I say that they are conscious? Firstly, because Super Earth, the most reliable source of information, says that the Voteless are brainwashed individuals that now serve the Illuminate, their Illuminate overlords. That implies that their consciousness had simply been rewritten, which, as a consequence, means that their consciousness is still there. They're still conscious, given because even if a consciousness has been rewritten, there is still consciousness, so that counts. So we'll actually give this one a tick before we go over the others. Now, they are conscious, and they also have to respond. From where I've asked this question on the internet, these are essentially these four things are the things that most would talk about. So, do they think? I don't think they do. Be aware that that it's alive. That is a difficult question. That would warrant a half. Now, do they respond to things? Yes, absolutely they do. If they don't respond, they won't be good enemies. So most of these says that the Voteless are alive. They are kind of alive. Now, even though it doesn't think, you would be asking, like, why? Why don't they have to think? Well, if you would look into say single-celled organisms, they also don't think. Yet they are considered alive. But despite that, they aren't self-aware that they're alive. They don't have a consciousness, but they do respond. So, where exactly do we draw the line between life and the state of not being alive? Right? It doesn't think. It's it's kind of aware that it's alive. It also seems to have a consciousness. It also responds. So, philosophically, if we are looking at this thing in a sense of criteria, the voteless does uh does count as being alive. But I would say that they are philosophically half alive. Now, they, as I've said, they have a consciousness that has been rewritten, but that still means it's conscious. So, a theory that I have is that they have two consciousnesses inside the the little nog of theirs. You know, two consciousness. One is a human. Hold on, let me write this better. Human. And the other. Hold on, I should illustrate this better. It's not a half thing. It's this kind of half. There is a human. There is a human in there, in that little nog of theirs, and there is a illuminate. That sort of uh overrides the human consciousness. Sort of like having two personalities in one, right? They have two personalities in one. The illuminate personality and the human personality, if you can even call it personality. Um I shouldn't call them personalities because um it's the consciousness of it. Now, there are two lines of thought here on the illuminate side. One is that they are a hive mind. They are a hive mind. That is one possibility. And the other is that they are programmed. And so let's look at the hive mind hypothesis here. If we think that they are a hive mind, then a there should be a some sort of a field commander for the voteless. And it's quite clear that they are not a hive mind, because if they are a hive mind, killing the overseers, the larger tier of enemies of the illuminate side, that would that may break the uh the chain of command, thus leaving the voteless without input, without input and what to do. And but if we look at the programmed hypothesis, if they are programmed individuals, are they still considered individuals even though they are programmed? I want everyone here to to think along with me for a second. I know it's a very hard thing to think. I'm currently like half asleep. I'm half asleep. I actually need to go to sleep right now. But fuck it, we ball. In the spirit of fuck it, we ball, I'm doing this stream. Right? Now, I am more into the programmed hypothesis because even though the overseers are dead, or even in the battle for Super Earth, there are missions where you take down the command ships of the Illuminate. Taking them down doesn't mean that the Illuminates die or go feral. They still know where the player is. Like, even if I'm on the other side of the building, they still know where I'm at. And every one of them and their brothers just gangs up on me and my squad. But that would also go with the hive mind hypothesis. Like, it would also go with the hive mind hypothesis. But it's not a majority of it. It's not a majority in this here discussion. So, for the sake of having a definitive answer, I would say that they have. Hold on, let me write this thing down. They are a programmed fodder. Fodder because they are sent to be slaughtered by us. Now, they have two consciousness. They have two consciousness. Human. Right. Let me phrase this better. Illuminate over human. Let me put this down, make it so that it looks kind of better. Now, when I say that they're programmed fodder, I say that because when I play against them, they would swarm to me like a cloud of bees, like a very slow cloud of bees, or sometimes very fast. Oh my god, I can't really breathe. Oh shit. Oh. I'm not feeling well at all. Holy shit. And here's one thing. Sometimes when we shoot the head of the Voteless, or deal critical damage that kills them, they do a salute. They do a salute, which is the right fist pumped into the air at shin height. That is the Super Earth salute. But sometimes this also happens even though the Voteless doesn't have a head. This may be a sign saying that with the death, the the hold on, the illuminate side of things has been liberated. You know, they're liberated, and the illuminate side is no more. But some say, some I've seen people say that the voteless, the reason why they salute when they die, was because it was out of reflex, because they've been doing this salute like their entire life, probably like 5 times a day, and that gives the body something to autonomously go to. But when we see someone have a reflex upon death, it's mostly convulsing. You know, when you die from a very uh traumatic injury, like say getting shot at by a big ass bullet, or you know, hit in the head with a bat or something, I don't fucking know. You would shake. You would kind of shake, like like as if you're getting electrocuted. You know, that's how I know about convulsing. That's what I know about them. And convulsing doesn't necessarily allow you to do this shit. Doesn't really allow you to make this what can be considered a complex gesture. So, do they still have a consciousness? Even though they don't have heads, they still do. Which, by sense, consciousness is stored in the head. Because that's where complex thoughts have a house at. Without the brain, your thoughts have no house. And it needs one. And it needs one so that you can act upon them, discuss them, think about them. Now, could it be that the voteless have been doing this so much that democracy essentially flow in their veins? Maybe you guys can think about that yourselves. Now, now let's see our texts. So they are, as far as we've discussed, they are half alive. They satisfy most criteria for living philosophically. Do you think so, Tenno? Well, I'm trying to think about it. I'm trying to think about it and see if they really are alive. There are still some questions in the end. There will still be questions in the end. Uh shit, what do we do again? They have they still have consciousness. They still have consciousness. They respond to things, let's say that, so that it kind of goes more. The word things would be an umbrella term for both. They satisfy the need to feed. I'm trying to look at this from a philosophical standpoint. I'm not trying to make things simple here. This dream is not to not to make something simple. It's to look at things very, very deeply. Now, don't get me wrong. I hate the squids. I hate the enemies of Super Earth. But I will be saying, like, I will be asking a question. I will be asking a question, and I will also answer it. You will know that I am a patriot of Super Earth. Now they respond to things. This shit. So they are philosophical answer. Let's make this a little bit more tidy. So they are kind of alive. Biologically, they are also alive. They also satisfy most criteria for being alive. Being alive as in the sense of shit, forget about it. For being alive, that's all we have to know. And that I think that they are alive. This means that the Voteless are not just drones. They are actual living things. Living creatures. Living creatures that are there to be shot at our amusement. Trust me, I am also amused when I shoot hordes of them, and every single one of their heads just pop. That is what I like. And so we would say that the Voteless are alive. Yep, Voteless are alive. Now, there are still a few questions that I have to ask. I have on my left a list of questions. Uh, Firstly, well, not first. It's probably the only question that is worth answering, like right now. Is the act of killing the voteless a form of mercy or murder? Now, don't get me wrong. I will still murder them the same. When it so I want you to imagine this being, when we said before that the Illuminate, no, not the Illuminate, the Voteless have two consciousness inside them, the human consciousness and the Illuminate consciousness. Do you think that it would be a jolly time that uh your your human spirit is trapped inside your body, and that spirit cannot order your body, you know uh like, I want you to imagine that you are you are badly injured, right? To the point where everything below your neck is essentially paralyzed. Now, when they become paralyzed, you can't move at all. You're just you're just laying there on the hospital bed. I mean, you can talk, but will others listen? That is a that is a that is another question. Well, not exactly a question. If you're sick, you should be taken care of. Do so Killing them may be a form of mercy. Well, not may, it is a form of mercy because we are liberating the voteless. We are liberating the human from the voteless. That is what I think is the case here. We are liberating the human from the voteless, liberating their humanity. Like, that's a very noble endeavor. It cannot be counted as murder simply because we didn't necessarily murder the human aspect of the voteless. We didn't murder their human consciousness. We simply liberated them because, like I've said before, sometimes when they die, they did the salute. They did the salute. And to me, it is the it is the final time that the that they can show that they are still human. You know, showing that you're part of the human race, even in your dying breath. That is possibly the most noble thing ever. So that would be a form of mercy. I've said before that this stream is going to be short. I think that I think that I've explored all there is to know about it. This is basically going even further the Mariana Trench of the voteless. This is simply just a stream that I've thought of as some sort of a it's not a joke. What could it be? I think this stream is simply just an outlet for my philosophical side of me. So I think that would be the stream. I don't think it. I don't think this stream should be long because the Voteless are just that. They are just zombies for us to shoot at. You know, to have fun killing something. You know, they're not that deep. Yet I still try to make it deep. And yeah, I think that would be it for for today's stream. Thank you guys for coming, and I will see you guys again later in the next week. I don't exactly know what I will be streaming next week, but maybe I'll stream Ready or Not. Maybe Helldivers too. Um, you know, I can't play Star Citizen next week because Lord Mollington won't be free. And yeah, I think there's only two games that are available for me to play. Or I can also stream myself working on my model if that is what you guys want to see. So, again, thank you guys for coming and listen to me ramble about the most random thing ever. Uh, so you guys take care. I think I'm gonna go to sleep very soon. So yeah, thank you guys again. Take care.